Hi, I'm Lovoni.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Lovoni and Sarah podcast, where we talk all things weight loss and well-being. On today's episode, Lovoni and I chat about consistency. Consistency is often the biggest thing people struggle with when they're trying to lose weight, yet it's the single most important thing if you want results. But before we dive into consistency and how it's key to your weight loss success, let's do a quick catch-up on last week, how it was. How did you get on, Lovoni?
My goal for last week, goals, were to journal.
Yes.
That would like do the morning pages, so 3 quick pages. And I think that I wanted to keep going with the juicing that I was doing. So I've been good with the juicing, the journaling, not so great. But the days that I did do it, I felt really good. I think you've heard of this, the morning pages thing, where you just write 3 pages, and not like massive pages, and I handwrite it because I find handwriting is so much better than typing it on a computer. And yeah, the days that I did it, I don't know, my head felt clear. I just felt better. I felt more organised.
Like prepared, like prepped for the day.
Yeah. Even if it wasn't a list of things, or often it was. It's just, I just felt, anything that was bothering me or whatever, I got that stuff out and was good. So anyway, I definitely am going to make the time to do it. It just needs to be the first thing that I do, or the second thing, exercise and then do it, those 2 things for sure. What about you? What was your goal again?
My goal was the allocating chores around the house to try and help with the mental load and the overwhelm. My son's actually away at the moment, so there wasn't much allocating to be done.
You're allocating them all to yourself.
To myself, yeah. But I have, as I've been going around doing my chores, making a mental note of the things that would be really good that I could allocate and sort of share out and things like that. So he's going to enjoy it when he's
I was just going to say, he's going to love this.
If he's listening, he's like, oh, that's it, I'm not going to But yeah, I've made sort of some decisions about things that I'm going to get him to do and start sharing and helping. So that's good. So I have approached it. I just haven't put it into action because he's not here.
Right. So. Are you going to put a board up?
I used to do that when he was little, and he'd just look and go, I'm not doing that. He's like, right, that's gone well then.
Maybe. Well, hopefully he does. Hopefully
he will do it.
Okay.
Yeah, he will. So
sometimes it's good to see a visual in case he forgets. Monday you have to do this.
I'll get him to put little reminders in his phone. That will work better, because then it'll bleep on, setting a little alarm on his watch, and then it'll bleep when it's time. Like, say for example it's Tuesday night, putting the bins out or something. If it sets a little alarm off on his watch, he'll then at least be able to see.
He'll jump up and go and do it straight away.
Obviously, Lovoni. He'll be like, mine's out the way. He's pushing me back to the side to get to the bins. It's bin time. Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Good luck with that one. Yeah. Well, you've got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, consistency. I'm excited about this episode because I am consistently inconsistent.
I was going to say, it's something you've told me you've struggled with.
I do struggle with it. Yeah. I heard this quote from Denzel Washington, the American actor, who I'm sure other people might have heard. It says, without commitment, you'll never start, but without consistency, you'll never finish. I think that is so good.
That's good, because I always see consistency and commitment as the same thing, but actually not. Then
no.
You're sort of saying it's 2 different things.
Yeah, I mean, you want to commit to something, and that's fine, but you have to have consistency to see you through to the end of it.
Yeah.
Or just to keep going. And so I was thinking about, for me, what it would make a difference for me to be consistent, and I don't think I'm that different from other people, but I think, and it comes into a lot of things that we've talked about on other episodes, but to build structure into my day for exercise and meal prep, right? And we talk about that, as I said, and to let go of that all or nothing mindset.
This is what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I spent a bit of time thinking about it and thinking, I wonder why I fall off, or we fall off, the consistency sort of rail track anyway, because actually if it's going well, why do we suddenly stop doing it? And I think that part of the issue is kind of this tunnel focus for me anyway. So if I imagine a tunnel vision, it is my focus at the end of it, and that's all that I'm focusing on. It becomes too much. It's almost like it's overwhelming. It becomes a strain. And I think that's when it's your consistency, it starts to get challenged. And whilst it's admirable that obviously you're so focused on something and that's what you want and you've made a commitment and you want to do it, I think if we're talking long term here and actually living in a certain way, is it really viable to make you know, this challenge so tunnel focused for yourself, or do you need to just really start to make it part of your everyday, so it isn't such a focus, it's just a normality,
lifestyle.
That's the lifestyle, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you can relax that tunnel vision a little bit, keep it in your peripheral vision, because you don't want to forget about it, do you? It's still got to be there, it's still got to be something that you're absolutely working on, but try not to make it for this at the sake of everything else, and just try and create habits that you then, like you just said, the structure, the routine, right, that's what becomes your everyday. So that's why it becomes consistent, because I just think if you make it too hard for yourself, in the end
you just won't stick to it. And it's the same thing with that I think too with the all or nothing, is if you know, like we went out for Mexican last night and I had a margarita in a glass about the size of my head. And it would be so easy to say, oh, well, I've screwed up now. Yeah. I'll just keep going. And I think that's the downfall of a lot of people when they're wanting to lose weight, is they have one meal that maybe they don't, you know, deem on their plan or particularly healthy. And they think, oh, well, I've done it, rather than just keeping on going from there on the path that you were on. You know what I mean? Yeah. That good path, not the... You know, not. I
think it's, if you can change
one unhealthy meal doesn't
exactly. If you can change that mindset, from rather than it being so, your efforts are about a healthy lifestyle. It's about improving your health. It's about creating a completely different lifestyle for you. And yes, an obvious fallout from that is we want the pounds to come down on the scales, and we want the weight loss to happen. Yeah. But if you change your ultimate goal from that number to health, that's when that mindset can change. So one margarita is not going to undo all of the health benefits that you've done over the last 6-8 weeks, 3 months, whatever it might be. It will not. It might change the pound number on your scales for a couple of days. Yeah. But that does not mean that everything is lost. So I think if you can change your focus from the pounds lost or the number that you're looking at to an overall health, then all of a sudden all is not lost anyway, is it? Because literally one drink or one meal out or even a whole weekend away isn't going to ruin everything that you've done
prior
with regards
to that.
To your health. Yeah, but it might, if you're honest, change the number on the scales for a few days.
And it will if you keep going on, you know, if you keep doing that.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't. It would start to ruin what you do. So I think that's the thing. If you can adjust your mindset from it being solely about numbers and on the scales and, you know, and how much have I lost, obviously that's an outcome that we're looking for as part of the overall change, but try to make it as part of. I don't know, that's not easy to do though, is it, when you're so weight loss focused, that's all you want to get rid of it. You think, I just want that number to go down,
but then if you want to get rid of it, then you've got to be consistent and stop, you know, and stop, you know, having any binge times. Another thing I think too is, and I'm pretty sure you do this because it is all that all or nothing mentality, but making your goals like smart, small goals, with achievable focuses on one goal at a time. So like one, you know, if you could have every week even one small food goal and one small exercise goal, and then you just build on that. Like small goals, because suddenly you'll turn around and things will have changed. You know, your clothes will start to feel looser and you will lose weight. But just like that, there it goes back again to that all or nothing mentality. It's just little steps, you know, will get you there.
We were in the gym a couple of weeks back, and there was a chap in there, very overweight, clearly starting to do something about his lifestyle and his health, and he was on the treadmill and he was walking like at a snail's pace, but he kept going, and he did that walking probably for about 15 minutes. Now, there's someone, you know, probably in there that's incredibly fit and healthy would look and think, well, what's the point in that? But the whole point in that is it's more than he was doing before.
Right.
So if you're someone that's just literally sat on the sofa the entire time, that is a huge win for him to be got up, gone to the gym for a start, like you told the story before of the person just turning up at the gym and then going home again for a while.
Yeah, just to get into that routine. Yeah,
exactly. And he was walking very slowly, but he was moving. And I just think, give that 6 weeks, he'll probably be walking a little bit faster. Not fast, but a little bit faster. And I try to do that for myself, because sometimes I give myself a hard time thinking, God, you're really unfit and you're not able to do this and you're not able to do that. I'm like, but all you need to try and do is a bit more than you used to be able to do, and then you've won. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's just showing up for yourself a little bit more each
showing
time.
up for yourself, that's exactly it. Because this was something that I was also thinking about. If you look at anyone who's successful in business, in health, well, in life, right, none of them will point to motivation as their secret power. Because I had that, like, people need to stop relying on motivation, because motivation will never be consistent. No. It's fleeting, and for many of us it just doesn't actually happen. You just have to make yourself do it. But they don't rely on motivation. Instead, they hone their discipline, which we've talked about.
Yep.
Focus on daily habits, because we know that habits and routine, how important they are. So you just do it and not think about it. And then they just keep building on that. And I think and people look at them and think, oh, aren't they lucky they're so successful, or aren't they lucky they've lost so much weight? But they've done it because of discipline and habits and consistency. Yeah. That's, what it comes down to. But, I'm sure they didn't do the all or nothing thing either.
I think what you said, though, is making it small. You've got to make it fit your lifestyle, like you said, because otherwise, again, you'll never make it consistent if it doesn't fit your lifestyle. It's all well and good us looking at these idealistic sort of Instagram accounts, or younger people even, because that's very different. Your age does affect what you can and can't. I don't mean with regards to losing weight, but just your physical fitness often is affected by different times in your life. You can get fit, but actually, let's face it, you're going to feel a bit different than you did when you were 20 trying to do this.
Right.
And so just make it realistic for where you are now, and then improve on it. But try not to create this big all or nothing idea that it's got to look a certain way instantly, because it's just not going to fit your lifestyle, is it?
No.
Busy parents, they're not going to be able to do something that a single 20-year-old would do, but they're not going to be able to do something that perhaps a slightly older person with a bit more time on their hands is going to do. So everyone has got a different story, and none of those stories are wrong. But make it work for you.
You have to make it work for you. Yeah, that's the thing. I was also thinking, when you were saying about making it work for you, is that this has been my downfall in the past, is to choose. Like, I think that I have to go on a diet plan, and I have to remove whole food groups out of my diet. And when, I can't do that because of my work. Unless I wanted to, carbohydrates are always the one thing.
Yeah.
And for me then to do that and not be able to, I have to be able to work with the food and taste it and test it as I'm doing things. And the recipes aren't necessarily grain-free or dairy-free or whatever. It doesn't mean I have to gobble everything down, but I still have to try it. So, removing food groups doesn't work for me. It might work for some people, but whatever it is, it has to be sustainable. If you're a person that loves food and, you love bread, taking bread out of your diet,
you're not going to keep doing it.
You're not going to keep doing it. I mean, maybe choose a better bread or something. I don't know, but just,
Do you know, one of the things that changed for me is my mindset changed when I think I was listening to a podcast, somebody else's podcast, but just giving myself permission to have 3 meals a day.
Right.
So I think I had the mentality of, like, you've just got to eat so little, eat little, have less. All right, I know the portion sizes are smaller and things, but that was quite revolutionary for me, was the fact that it's absolutely
okay to do that,
to have 3 meals a day.
Right.
And what I've been trying to do is making those meals nutritious. Yes, I'm adding things in that I know are now benefiting my health, but also make me so full that I don't want to snack on all the other crappy junk food, because that's a big, that is the big thing. If you can stop eating processed food, it will make such a change to not only your health but your weight loss goals as well. So that's one thing that I've been doing is just having 3 decent meals a day, making them clean, making them something I enjoy, because that's the other thing. So you enjoy what you're eating.
Yes.
It means you don't go searching for something else all the time, because half of the time it's because you didn't really enjoy what you've eaten, and you go, oh, well, that's kind of gone now.
Let
what
down.
can I go yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because I think in you saying that, thinking, oh well, I have to eat this because a piece of quiche and a salad, that's going to be a piece of quiche, that's going to be bad. I just think of that because I love pastry.
Yeah.
And for me, I can sit down and have like a small piece of a quiche or some sort of savoury tart, and then I have a whole lot of salad with it. And I think, okay, somebody might look at that and think, oh, you've got like cream and eggs in that. And I think, yeah, but you know what? It's small, it's high in protein. I've had this massive salad, I've enjoyed it, and I'm still losing weight. So
it honestly will be, exactly. It will be fine, because what you're not going to do is eat all the other stuff in the afternoon, or any of the processed
because I feel deprived,
or sugar or what exactly.
Yeah, that's another thing too that helps me with consistency when I'm being consistent, is not saying I'm not going to eat this or I'm not going to eat that. Yeah. Because that, I think, as soon as you say something like that, it's like, don't look over there. And the person immediately looks over there.
First thing that happens,
you can't go in that room, saying that to kids. So what do they want to do? They want to go in there. So I think doing that too is important to keep people consistent. Like you said, you just started by focusing on the nutrient side of it, rather than the I can't have side of it. So we're focusing on what is good.
It's hard though, isn't it? Because say you've been consistent for 4 or 5 days and it's going really well and you're feeling quite proud. That one thing that can pop up, and then you just, for whatever reason, your mind just overrules you and just go, stuff it, I'm going to have it anyway. Okay,
right.
So for me, it could be a binge afternoon, or it could be a big dessert if I was out when really I didn't need it. Something like that. And then you just think, I wonder why I did that. I wonder why my brain allowed me to overtake the fantastic work that it's just done in the last 5 days. Do you find that? Do you wonder what it is that just, in the end, just takes you over and then sabotage it?
Yeah, that was one of my notes that I have written down too, that, people can decide on any sort of plan, but if they haven't understood or looked at their triggers, maybe something was bothering you at the time,
possibly,
or you were busy or stressed or whatever. But I think, people need to look at the mental aspect of it. It's not just about healthy eating. It's about the mind, a mindset. Because that's what it comes down to, really. And
you
I
can
think
have the strongest beam, can't you? The strongest metal beam, and it can have one little hairline crack in it, and you've lost all strength in that beam. And for me, I think at the moment, I've recognised that hairline crack is when I don't have something prepped. So if I don't have something that's ready in the fridge that I know is going to be good for me, that's when I'll be like, oh, well, I'll go searching then. And if I've gone searching and I have one thing that's out of the ordinary for what I'm trying to eat at the moment, that mindset just takes over and just thinks, like you just described, oh, well, I've had it now. So I might as well have another 50 things, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so for me, I recognise that that's my weak point at the moment, is if I'm not prepared, if I haven't got things in, if I haven't got some fruit wash. I'm even going to the extent of washing and prepping things at the moment, so I don't have to think about anything. I can literally just go and get something because it's working for me, so that's fine. But I think that it can change. It might be something different for me in future, or even next week, whatever my week point is. But definitely, I recognise that at the moment is if I'm not prepared, then that's my downfall at the moment. And when I am prepared, it's going well. That
is similar for me too, because I think I let myself get to a point of just being so ravenous that as I'm getting food out of the fridge to make something, I'm like stuffing. Oh my God, I'm so hungry. I'll just grab whatever, some meat, some cold meat or whatever. Whereas if it can just take me a couple of minutes, or just to have some bloody restraint,
That's the other thing, like this 3 meal a day thing. I think because you're going to have lunch, you can have it at a decent time, but you do it before you get starving.
Right, before you get to that crazy point.
Yeah, I'd almost try and wait and think, well, I'll try and skip it then, or have something really small, and then it's just such a false economy because you have it and you've had it too late, or you've snacked before, or then you binge afterwards because you're starving. I'm giving myself permission to have a proper lunch, and I'm having it at a decent time. I genuinely don't have that crave all afternoon. And if I do, I might go and get a banana or a peach or something just to sort of take that edge off. Or at the moment we've had some of I don't know if they've got a brand called Graze, and they're kind of baked chickpeas and things like that, but with spices and flavouring.
Yummy, that sounds good.
They're literally no fat,
right?
And they're really flavourful because they've got a lot of flavouring on. So I might have one of those in the afternoon with a drink, because it's just something to sort of snack on. Because a lot of time it's boredom as well as actually hungry.
If you're at your computer,
evenings I'm doing fine, because my meals have been good. I think it's for my danger point for being mindless with my eating. It's in the afternoon, so sort of 4 o'clock-ish, something like that. That's my danger time.
The witching hour.
If you know what time of day that is, that's difficult for you, pre-plan for that as well.
Something.
Maybe have something prepped, like some hummus and carrot sticks or something ready in the fridge, so you could just go and get them. You don't even have to make like we've said before, make the path of least resistance. Don't even give yourself a chance to think, well, I'll have to find something else. It's just habit, consistent. There it is, routine. I'll go and get that packet out, that set out of the fridge that I've made. That helps, because you're just retraining your brain to think that's what I do in these times, rather than go searching for something which isn't going to be very favourable for me.
It can also be like changing your environment too. Like I've been because I think there's so many calories in booze, and I won't stop drinking, and I don't drink a lot, but when I do, I just think, oh my god, I just drank about 2,000 calories or 1,000 calories, and for what? There's no nutritional value in it. And so just changing things up at that time. If you find that 5 o'clock's a bad time, and you can go for a walk or ride a bike or do something else, like changing the environment also helps as well. Do you know what I thought? Because after lunch is one of my times where I just am craving something sweet. Some people say it's after dinner. Mine's after lunch. And so what I do is I make up, I have popsicles in the freezer that I make, that I put fruit, I put cocoa powder in there, I sweeten them with monk fruit sugar, and whiz them up in the blender. And then they're really good because they help, a craving. And then another thing I do is I make these chewy sort of date bars that are really high fiber, and I cut those up and I freeze them, and then I'll just take one out, just before my lunch or sort of mid-morning or whatever. So I've got that to have. So, because with a cup of tea, that's just, I don't know, it just satisfies that sweet craving I have. But I know that it's high in fiber, and then I just don't feel like I want anything then after that.
Yeah.
It helps. Because, fruit's good, but every now and then I'm like, I just need something more.
It's just not got enough. No.
Just not got enough. I also keep, watermelon chopped up. That's always good because it's just like water, really.
Yeah.
But yes, being consistent.
I tried to make a list of the top 5 things that would make it easier, in my point of view. I reckon you'll probably agree with these things. But the first thing I had was clean out and prep your area at home. So like we've talked about before, if you want to be consistent, if you've got something, an easy way of doing it, that will make consistency so much easier. So prep and clear your home. Like you just said, create a realistic routine. So don't try and make one that's just this picture perfect, because honestly, you'll do it probably for 7 days at best, and then it will just slide. So create a realistic routine. As you said before, if you slip into a bad habit, just correct them straight away. Like we've said, just don't wait. Don't write off a whole weekend.
No, or even a whole day or a whole hour.
Just acknowledge it and go, okay, but just carry back on with how you were before, because honestly, that's where consistency comes from.
And I think
not letting things write things off.
Exactly, and I think that is so many people's downfall.
Yeah.
That whole all or nothing, that comes into the all or nothing. Yeah,
it does.
I think that's so important.
Number 4 I put down is get enough sleep, because as we've spoken about before, when you're tired, it's so hard to keep consistent at your routine, keep that effort going, because your body just says, I just don't want to.
I want to rest.
So yes, and then you turn to sugary foods, carby foods, junk foods, whatever, and then before you know it, your old routine and your old habits have sort of reared their head.
And you feel like shit.
Get enough sleep. And I think make sure you enjoy what you're eating and doing on a daily basis, because if you hate something, it's very unlikely you're going to make this a consistent routine for yourself, because yes, you can force yourself, and yes, there's discipline, and sometimes you just have to push through and force yourself to do it. But if we're talking forever here, guys, which is what we're talking about, we want to forever change our lifestyle. Can you truthfully, hand on heart, say you're willing to battle with yourself every single day? No, sometimes you can, because sometimes it's going to be needed, but just try and enjoy it for what it is. So the food, retrain your brain to enjoy what you're eating now, as opposed to, and I'm at that point, now, actually, that if I eat some of the other stuff, I feel bloated, I feel too full,
you feel gross.
Enjoy it, and thought I didn't really like
it. That's how I felt last night.
And I'm really enjoying the new way of food that I'm eating. Because it's a lot of vegetable based, and so I think retraining what you enjoy is another way of looking at it.
And being adventurous too, don't you think? Like, just try things new. Find some recipes, whether it's online or, I'm sure everybody has cookbooks at home. Probably a lot of them they never use.
Don't get them out.
Get them out. Just pick a recipe and just, okay, so you don't have all the ingredients, add them to your shopping list for, whenever you go shopping next.
Or adapt it slightly.
I
had to do that this week because I didn't quite. I was in the shops and I couldn't get everything I needed, so I had to.
Right.
So,
but to be adventurous.
On the flip side of that, then, so 5 things to stay away from if you want to stay consistent. I think not having your groceries bought and in the house is a big no-no.
Yeah.
So you stay away from that. Have prep, get them in,
meal plan.
Ready.
Yeah.
Not having meals prepped or batch cooked or making them too complicated, because if you're starving and it's late in the evening, you're like, I'm just not going to do that because it's too big a job. So avoid that. Avoid not being prepared. Avoid making things too complicated midweek, for example, when you're not really going to have time to do it. Pre-plan and make it a bit easier for yourself. Try and avoid being overly strict, because if it's too hard to stick to, again,
you're not going to stick to it
for any length of time. Don't forsake everything because you're on a diet, like you just described.
Like parties and things like that. Worrying about stuff.
Have things in your.
You've got to live
forever. You've got to have a lifestyle. So don't forsake everything for the sake of being on this quote diet, because it's not a diet that's going to last a certain period of time. It is a diet as in the way that you eat now. It's long term. And don't create a deadline. So like we've talked about before, if you create a deadline, I think that's so harmful for consistency, because if you reach that deadline date, which is probably unachievable as it was anyway, what happens after it? Either give yourself a hard time, or you say, well, I've passed it now, so there's no point, or all of these,
it's a mental blocker
start happening in your head. Exactly. So I think don't create a deadline. So those are my 5 yeses and my 5 don'ts. I think they're all pulling on things that we've talked about before. So there's nothing that suddenly someone's going to find shocking in that.
No.
But genuinely, I think that's where consistency lies, is making it smooth for yourself. It will be challenging at times, but don't keep putting bumps in the road that are going to be really difficult forever. And just try to get prepared and be ahead of the game. I don't know about you. I think that makes such a difference.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I don't know where that came from. That was bizarre. I totally agree with all of that. And also, the adding the exercise in, don't make it something that you hate. Make it something that you enjoy or just don't mind doing.
At least can tolerate it.
And don't have that I have to do it mindset. We've talked about this before. Is that you get to do it. You get to get up in the morning, put your shoes on, and go for a nice walk for 20 minutes. That's not that bad. Or something, whatever. Do it at home.
Anything.
Put YouTube on. Find someone that does something that you like, a dance or hula hoop or go for a swim, or
even just
something.
walk up and down the stairs 20 times.
Oh God, something.
There's anything you can do. Yeah.
I mean, put some music on. That always helps me.
Yep.
Putting some music on, but just little habits, little goals, and then build on them, and then that will help with consistency. That's my thing is just to do that, and the way that I see me being consistent is building on my habits, is just having good habits and sticking with them.
And I think for me, the way I can see me doing it, and I need to get better, is almost just not thinking about it.
Right,
so much.
right. It's just what you do.
Yeah,
what I do every morning.
Constantly think about it. All the time.
Because then you've got that.
Training.
That ping pong match back and forth. I'm like that with exercising. I actually like to exercise, but I always think, I'll just go and do this, or I'll just go and do that.
Yeah.
But rather than it be wake up, pull on your workout clothes, and you do it, because that's what you do every morning, or every afternoon or whatever. For the morning, it's mornings for me. But I'm coming into like a super busy time, which Sarah knows, where I'm not home to be able to do that. So I'm home of an evening, but I'm just going to get up a little bit earlier and do a workout before I go, and it's probably not going to be as extensive as what I would do normally, but it doesn't mean I have to go, I'm just going to be so busy I won't get time to. I'm just going to adapt it. And that is my thing, to consistently do that. Like you said, so it's just part of my daily routine. I don't have to think about it. I find that with my food. Okay, I've got this, and this, and prepped or planned or whatever, and so I'm good. I don't have to think about that.
I think plenty of people, though, may sit there and just listen and think, yeah, that's exactly, that sounds ideal. That's what I would like to do. But they'll then sort of get to this, but truthfully, am I ever going to do that? Do you know what? Just start.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about being perfect. Just start. Just do any little thing, like one meal that you've done in a week, or like you said, a 10-minute walk, or go up and down the stairs 20 times, or whatever it might be. Just do something. And honestly, and I'm the same, sometimes I build it up as too big, and I'm like, it's too big, I'm not doing it now. Just do something, and the rest will follow. Like your ass will come along for the ride. Right. Just sort of start and do it. I think that's another thing, is to be consistent. Just do something, rather than thinking about the bigger thing that's never going to actually arrive, because it just seems too daunting.
And then not having the constant conversation with yourself as, I'll do that later, I'll exercise later, I'll go for a walk later. Because the more that you can build it into a routine, like, we just said the list, you have to think about it.
I think when you start seeing results as well, or feeling results, that always helps. So if you start to feel better because of the foods that you're eating, or you start to feel a little bit more energetic because you have been exercising a little bit, because it does make you feel more energetic, or your sleep, you don't feel as tired. So these things you'll start to recognise as seeing some results. That does help, and that will help build on the consistency, because as soon as you can see it working or feel it working, it inspires you to do it, keep doing it a bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah, but, give yourself time. I
don't mean next day.
No, that's what I mean. Like, so many people just want the results now.
Well, it's like we said in the
you have to enjoy
episode,
it.
You've got to basically hurry up and wait. You've just got to understand that it's going to take some time.
It's a process.
It doesn't mean you don't stop doing it. Exactly.
No, and just try to enjoy it. I mean, maybe not every day, and I know you're not everybody's going to skip through this, but it's not a life sentence. It could be if you don't do something about it and get healthier and lose weight, but rather than thinking, it's so hard. So many people say that, and I don't mean to belittle them, but I mean, you've got to change that mindset, and in doing it, just these small changes will help that.
Yep.
Consistently making them.
Try not to even focus on the pounds lost, just focus on the health lifestyle change that you're making. Right. And it will happen along with it. That's the thing. It's just because if you could get too bogged down with a number, if it's not moving for whatever reason for maybe 1 or 2 weeks, which can happen, then you don't want to feel like you've wasted time, because you haven't, because all of that benefit to your health is exactly what we're striving for.
Yeah.
That's what we're after.
Yeah, don't, just because you had 2 weeks and haven't seen, a 10-pound loss, it doesn't mean that all is lost.
No,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Another thing too is thinking about, and I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, but this is how I get myself through sometimes, is I think about how shit I will feel if either I don't exercise or I go and have like some crappy meal that I'm, oh my God, I'm craving fries or something like that. And I think, Lovoni, how, excuse me, how shit you're going to feel if you do that. So I don't want to feel like that. I'm sick of feeling like that. So that also stops me, the turnaround of just, no, I'm not doing it.
It's not worth it. No.
It's not worth it. I know, because it's usually when I'm out. When I'm home, I'm fine. I know that I've got stuff ready at home in the fridge, so I'm just going to focus on that. When I'm on location, we get our lunches and dinners, our lunches bought for us. So that's something that, I can easily just go a bit hog wild there. Although most places they have salads and wraps and stuff like that, so you can make good choices. And luckily, the crew that I'm working with, most of them are into, healthier eating, smaller portions, which helps. But a couple of the books I'm working on they're very calorific, put it that way. Yes. So, funnily enough, when I'm styling, I got my fingers in food. I don't always like eating it. But, if there's a bit of fried chicken involved, I might want to.
It might just be hanging around.
So that's why it's going to be important for me to make sure I don't get to that ravenous stage. So I think that's also, important for people. Maybe not everybody. I know a lot of people do intermittent fasting and let themselves get to that ravenous stage. But it doesn't work for me. Anyway, so what about cooking this week? Sarah, what are you making?
Well, I'm going to tell you about one meal that I made the night before last, which was absolutely delicious. Okay. It was a recipe that you sent me, which I had to adapt. So it was the butter bean.
Chicken. Oh, okay.
No, the butter bean one. Do you remember you sent me a butter bean recipe that was creamy with courgette and I don't know.
Oh, yeah, right. It had cauliflower, didn't it? And hummus or something?
No, the one.
A different one. Oh, yeah. Yep, no, I know the one you mean.
Courgette, garlic.
Yeah.
You basically roast or sort of
you roast the
slow cook it,
zucchini
and then
too.
You add the butter beans, and I couldn't get the nutritional yeast and things that they were putting.
Oh, right.
So I swapped mine, and I put fresh coconut milk. I don't mean like the canned coconut milk. I mean the coconut milk you'd add a barista for your coffee.
Okay.
Coconut. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of, like instead of soy milk, it was coconut milk. And I put that and some peanut butter in mine. So
right.
Almost like
Southeast Asian flavour.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was a whole bulb of garlic in there.
Right.
So 15 cloves of garlic went in it. It was quite substantial, but delicious. Oh my gosh.
I'll have to try that.
So
that was the one where the zucchini was cut up chunky and then roasted in the oven. Yeah. Okay. I'll try that.
I did it in a really heavy kind of casserole pan with a lid. So I put the courgette and there's quite a bit of good quality extra virgin olive oil, and they say the whole bulb of garlic, but peeled, peeled garlic, but you put it, but still just quantity. It was. Why did I
think it was on a baking sheet? Okay.
No, it was definitely in a heavy pan.
Right.
And then put it in the oven for like 40 minutes, so it gets really soft, and then you squish it down, and then add the beans and add the sort of milk and stuff. So of course it gets really thick and creamy. And actually, you really didn't need a huge amount because the beans were very filling.
Yeah.
And where it's quite creamy, it was sort of quite rich, but obviously all really good fats and everything. So yes, I can recommend that. It was really delicious.
I need to get some nutritional yeast because it does help with things like, especially if you want to do something dairy free, it does help to get that creamy texture.
Well, that's why I had
that cheesy taste.
It was almost like a nutty
cheesy,
taste, isn't it? Because I had to go dairy free because we couldn't have dairy, so that's why I went with the coconut milk.
Yeah.
It was dairy-free in there, and then the peanut butter. But yeah, it was delicious.
I use the coconut milk in my popsicles too. Sometimes yogurt, but this last lot I used coconut milk, which I know is high in fat, but it makes like
it's good fat,
8
though.
popsicles. So yeah.
I've only ever used the coconut milk that's like the canned coconut milk that's really thick. This is obviously just a pouring liquid sort of thing.
And is that all it has in it? Is coconut and water? Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. So, anything else that you're making?
We're going to go away this weekend, so I'm not planning on making anything.
Lucky
Only
you.
going to go for a few days, but I don't know what I'm going to do next week. So we go Friday to Sunday night, so I don't know what we're going to have, but I haven't really got any plans for shopping or getting anything.
Right.
We're going to go to a little hut in the middle of Devon, so it's going to be a bit sort of take our own stuff and be very quiet and things like that. So
that'll be nice.
No cooking. Yeah.
Right. But if you get, there's nowhere to eat out?
Possibly, I don't know, might walk. We're going to take the dogs, we might walk somewhere, but it might be that we just stop at a supermarket on the way down.
Right.
And have some things that we can just eat easily and
Yeah. Snacky type, easy
Depends
things.
on the weather, because it won't stop raining in the UK.
Well, I just wonder if there's any of Canada left that because of the fires there.
Burning.
It's still burning, and it's so hazy here. I got in the car yesterday, I had an appointment in the afternoon, and I kept putting my wipers on with the squirter liquid, thinking, what is wrong with my window? And then I realised it was just the haze from the fires, and I thought, how is there any of Canada left? Yeah, still burning. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that sounds nice. A weekend away. Oh, I'm a little jealous there. Yeah.
What are you going to cook?
Oh, well, we're having people over this weekend, so I'm doing ribs in the slow cooker. Not the slow cooker, the smoker.
Right.
I'm going to do a rub on them, pop them in the smoker, and then I'm going to serve them with homemade but a skinny slaw. Not super skinny, but skinnier than I normally would make it. Corn pudding using some fresh Indiana corn. Right. I'm going to do a bruschetta because the tomatoes in Indiana are the best that you'd ever have anywhere in the world, I have to say. So I'm going to do bruschetta for an appy. And then I'm going to do some crunchy lemon potatoes. I think I'm in two minds whether to do that or like a cold potato salad, because the potato salad I can have made ahead. Yeah. But I like that whole texture thing, that crunchy potatoes, and then do like a Greek style potato. But I'm also going to do a pavlova, and nice. With probably some mangoes or something like that on there, some fruit, lots of whipped cream, and it's never been my favourite dessert, so I'm pretty good with not having it,
finishing it,
and then I can just send leftovers home with the people that are coming over. I'm also I've got on repeat, and I'm going to shoot this recipe today, and I might have talked about it last episode. It's rocket, so arugula as they call it here in the States, peach, fresh mozzarella and prosciutto salad with some pesto and balsamic glaze. Love that. I'm also going to be making raspberry crumble bars. That's for Saturday. But leftovers will go in the freezer, or they'll go with my husband to work. Yeah. Because that's what I do. I'm going to keep my juice going. We have so much stuff in the garden. Today I had jalapenos, peppers, green peppers, celery. What else did I use? I used a bunch. I even put peas in there, for pity's sake. Wow. Just a whole lot of stuff from the garden. That was good. So I want to keep doing that. And I've started making these high protein pancakes, delicious blueberry pancakes that have cottage cheese, oats, and eggs in them. And you whiz it all up in a blender. And, and it's so you've got a thick batter, and then you add whatever fruit you want to it. So I've been putting blueberries in mine. And then you just cook them, and then I have that with some sugar-free maple syrup, which I know is pretty, all the sugar-free stuff is pretty shit, but I still do. You know, I just want some
Yeah.
maple syrup. I'm not having butter. I'm not, you know,
I
I
have
put
normal
like
maple syrup, to be fair.
You do,
I
yeah.
don't, yeah, I just
Pure
because
maple syrup.
It's just pure, so I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, you know what, it's a natural product. So
It
I'm
is,
going with
and
that.
so I'm better probably having that. But anyway, that's what I'm using at the moment because I've got some there. I'm just going to use it up because I friggin' love maple syrup and I just douse them in it. So yeah, they're the sort of things that I'm cooking. I'm also going to throw in there some grilled Asian sort of style skewers with an Asian cucumber, carrot and peanut salad. And then you were talking about the peanut butter and the coconut. Yeah, so it's just a little satay.
Nice.
Yeah, sauce on that afterwards. Yeah. What about your goals? What are your goals for this coming week?
I thought basically after today's chat, I think I'm just going to try and be consistent for 1 week. You know, and I just sort of think that's my goal. That's my starter. I'm going to write up a daily plan for myself. What does that look like? Make it really simple. Make it realistic. So I know I can actually, you know, get this done. So that's my goal for this week. Is just have 1 week of consistency. To be honest with you, I haven't been doing too bad anyway.
Right.
But I wouldn't say that I've managed to, for 100% be consistent all the way through. So that's what I would like to do, is just get a week under my belt that I feel like I have been consistent for 1 week, and then I can show myself and my body that that's achievable. Then just start on the next, you know, the next chunk after that. So that's my goal for this week.
Well, because
what about you?
I think that I'm just going to steal your goal and do that because that is a definite good thing to do. Just a week, and then you can tweak it at the end of that week. Okay, what worked, what didn't, and then change it up for the next week. But rather than say I'm going to be consistent forevermore, I'm just for a week, you know, because this is my thing with consistency, is that something can happen, like a friend can come and stay, which was, you know, what happened to me, and it totally railroads me. It totally, you know, I'm just whatever, I'm out of my routine, or like it doesn't have to be like that. You know, I could have still gone and, you know, exercised every day. And I did do some, but it was spasmodic. So it's just not, I guess, letting life's things that come up totally sideline you. You just need to go, okay, well, yeah, that happens. How can I adjust a little bit to make it work?
Your goals not optional. As soon as you make them optional, then they get pushed out. So to be consistent, they're not optional.
No.
They are something that you absolutely do. And however that looks, and that might need to be moulded and tweaked on a daily basis because of other things, it's still not an option that I don't do it. So I think that's the key, isn't it?
There might be some small sacrifices in there that you have to make. Like for me, knowing that I've got 5 weeks of photo shoots or 6 weeks of photo shoots, it's going to be getting up a bit earlier because the exercise, I'm not going to stop exercising for all that time because I will not do it when I get home, let me tell you. I know that would be silly for me to even think that I would do that.
So that's making it realistic for your life.
Making it realistic for me. I'm knackered. And it's, you know, it's like 7:30 by the time I get home some days. So anyway, but that's a really good goal. Being consistent for a week. Building on that.
Let's do it.
Yes. Join us next week. Sarah and I are discussing the Mediterranean diet, why it works for so many people, what foods make up a Mediterranean way of eating, and how to make small changes in your diet to emulate it. Plus, it's not the only beneficial way to eat for better health and weight loss, so listen to find out more. As always, thank you so much for listening. Please send us a message if there's something you'd like to hear us talk about on the podcast. Visit lovoniandsarah.com to find links to connect with us on social media. Plus, I'll put them into, to the feed, to the description. Yeah. Remember, it's the little things that you do most of the time that have the biggest impact. You need discipline to start. You need a plan, patience to trust the process, routine to build good habits, but most of all, you need consistency to keep going. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you in a week. Bye for now.
Bye.